Oh crap! Sorry, I was just looking up how to actually throw strikes on Google. Hi Luke, how's it going?
Um,
uh, it's been a minute, dude. But we're
yeah,
back. We are back indeed. Apologies for the delay. I know Luke's had a lot going on. Had a busy day. I've had a somewhat busy day as well, and then technology decided to hate me. So here we go.
I just forgot to send you the link, actually.
Yeah, well, I couldn't log into my Restream account to join off the link you sent me, so
Mm-hmm.
could be looking up much worse. Yeah. Yeah, I could have been a lefty trying to make match play at the USBC Masters this week.
Yeah.
I suppose the left is not always walled.
Yeah, not always.
Yeah, not completely and forever. So
Sometimes.
yes, which I think that is kind of a funny thing. I think you and I were talking about this either earlier this week or last weekend. Of like, it's funny how you bowling at Royal so much is kind of getting you into a few lefty habits that are Royal specific and don't necessarily translate to other places.
Yeah.
And
I just get locked up at Royal because it's trickier there than other places, and then I go
except errands, but
yeah. Well, I have to go sacrifice we go somewhere else, and I have to sacrifice a team set or two, and then all of a sudden everything just kind of works again, and so yeah.
The funny thing, I was actually thinking about this earlier today, is kind of some of the nuanced tricks that I've picked up from bowling Medland for now my second year in a row. They actually transfer a lot on the right side to other buildings. And so I think for you, because although granted, I guess a lot of that is kind of transition management too, if I think about it, of like, the way I manage a lane as it's progressing on the right side, with the exception of like when we bowled Trevor's team in a couple of weeks, you're just never going to have that. So I guess that is kind of a place where the left side is different.
Yeah. It's really just that Royal seems to be flatter in the middle than a whole lot of other places. Plus the gutters are dry, and so when I actually have we go to Southwest or anywhere where I can actually fade the middle instead of having to go around it because the ball won't get down the lane, it just completely changes everything. So yeah, once I got unlocked at in Wichita a couple weekends ago.
That was great in double singles. Yeah, that was a lot of fun to watch.
After that, and then when we bowled a little bit in Pennsylvania,
great there too.
Yeah, they're just generally a little dry, but it wasn't.
Well, but here's the thing: is there was enough shape in the middle of the lane that you could get it through the first 30 feet. You were throwing you were throwing bigger stuff than you throw even in a purely more hooking environment. You were throwing bigger stuff with less launch angle than what you have to do at Royal.
Yeah.
And that was actually kind of crazy to see. And that was a kind of a really aha moment for me of, oh, wow, a lot of where you get hamstrung is just Royal.
Yeah. It's just you have to go around the middle of the lane because you can't get the ball down the lane, but you can't go too far around it because then it stops and hooks too early. And so just threading the needle there makes it kind of interesting. But
yeah, it's a fun experience. So we do have a good chunk to get through, and I know you've got stuff to do. I've got stuff to do, and the second half of the round of 64 at the Masters starts in about 22 minutes. So try to speed run this a little bit.
Any notable, really quick? Is any notables that made it or didn't make it through? Did Austin Bolds?
Austin is bowling in 20 minutes.
Oh, okay. So yeah, because there was the one side. Okay, so
so they just did the left half of the bracket, and now it's the right half of the bracket. And the left half of the bracket has like Barnes, Tommy Jones, and Chris Vi and Mitch Hupé, and that's about it in terms of notable elite level talent. The right side has Belmo, EJ, Simo, Troop, and like 16 other guys,
everybody,
with like a bajillion titles. So
yeah.
It's kind of funny how that draw worked out this year, but I think Austin's path to the 1 seed, I think, goes through Belmo and Simo. So good luck at high scores.
Yeah.
But no, it's a very fun tournament to watch, and I enjoy the format. So got to root on a couple of buddies of mine. Riley, Kyle, and Zach were all out there, and Bo too were all out there bowling. And none of them, I don't think any of them cashed, unfortunately, but still, like, it's a cool experience to get out there. And Riley got to cross with Parker for all the qualifying. So I'm jealous. Anyways, all of that to say, we now have 2 weeks of bowling to catch up on. So I guess let's talk first about the match with Trent's team in week 28. This was a 16-16 chop on points, which I think was the third or fourth time we've done that this season, I want to say.
Yeah.
Obviously a very close match. We trounced them game 2. They squeaked us game 1, and they got enough game 3 to make it really close on total pins. We've had a lot of matches like this half. But Jaden is actually back this week, which is very exciting. So we are back to our original team lineup for the first time since January. Her classes are over. I think she had I think one of her extended family passed away, and so she had to go to the services for that, and that's why she was out on or that was the week 29, but week 28 she was at week 28 was that, and then week 29 was NAIA Nationals, I believe, for the Ottawa ladies. So Jaden, with the absent rules, you miss 2 weeks in a row, you get your average. Every week after that, you're down another 10 off of your average. So that's why she got a 208 blind instead of her usual 218. I really don't think it changed. I mean, it would have gotten us the first team game, but otherwise it doesn't really change a whole lot from any of the outcomes. Realistically, she would have gotten game 3, but
yeah,
so that's 5 points. But I mean, it happens, and I'm willing to take the chances with a 208 blind in the 1 hole. That's just kind of you take your lumps there. Noah bowled really well 2 weeks ago. I forgot about that. Like, just he's kind of found his stride a little bit. This kind of down the stretch, I feel like he's had a couple of rough weeks of not being able to put it together, but then when he does, he can just kind of stay there all night, and when he can, it's fun to watch. And then this was the week, I think, where you called 700 and basically got tapped like 16 times game 3. Otherwise you would have shot 700.
Yeah, game 3 was a little weird. Plus I think I missed I can't remember. It was just
you missed a random single pin game 1. I think it was like a 4 pin or something stupid like that.
Yeah, something weird game 1, and then game 4. Yeah, I had 2 6/8 game 3.
Yeah.
And it just
and the second was just like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, that should have struck.
I never leave those, and to have 2 of them in the same game and still generally hitting the pocket and doing fine. It's just one of those that every single time, for whatever reason, I have 5 something going in. The last game I just score terribly. I don't change anything. It's not like I've never had 5-0 something going in before. It's not gonna make me weak in the knees and make me lock up or anything, but it's just like, it just can't score the last.
So I think the secret to you shooting, I figured it out. The secret to you shooting 800 is you need to shoot like spare 10 bagger 9 on the fill for 289 game 1. And then game 2, you need to get tapped 3 times in your last 4 frames to limp in with like 2 teen.
Yeah.
And then shoot 300.
Yeah.
If you do that, that's your 800 and a 300. It's perfect. Yeah. But 100% calculated. Although at Royal, I don't know that the odds of your game 3 300s for you.
Well, and see that's the thing, is that it keeps happening to all the other lefties too, because the last when Rob and Warren both had 550 going in. Rob shot 160.
No, he shot 160.
He shot whatever. Trevor had 560 going in a month and a half ago and shot 160 or 170 the last game. So it's just, I don't know what changes or what. It just, the angles get off a little bit. And then, of course, if you have 550 or 560, you're definitely thinking about score that last game, whether or not you're nervous or.
Sorry, it was 192. I apologize. I was thinking it was like 160 something.
Whether or not, like, you might have been thinking of Trevor, because he did shoot 160, 150 or 160 off of having 560 the first 2.
I'm looking for it.
Thinking about score at that point, but you're not really I mean, there's no reason to get until you get close to the shot that you need. Why worry about it? It's like it.
Yeah, 279, 278, 158 in week 21.
Yeah. So for whatever
Ouch.
reason, yeah, I don't know how Eric Moore shot 840 last week, but
magic, complete magic. Which, I guess kind of spoiled the lead there a little bit. Eric did shoot, what is it, 80, 70, 70 last week, I think.
I don't know. All I know is what you told me. I didn't.
He shot a bajillion. Let me pull it up real quick. I've got the bowler history page over here. Let's see. Eric Moore's 278, 278, 289 for an 845 series, which I believe is high set of the season.
Yeah.
So tip of the cap to him. Some phenomenal bowling. He's really been finding his stride. He's actually up to second in average right now behind me.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, he's gone around Russ and Jay and Tyler. So I guess shooting 840 tends to bump the average a few points.
That'll help with that a little bit.
Yeah, and never would have seen that coming. But anyways, to put a bow on week 28, game one was just one of those. So I was coming off of the McPherson Regional, where I was throwing it slow and up the lane for 20 games. And then I hadn't thrown a shot until practice for league on Winter Bowl in the week 28 match. And so I was just a little tired, a little rusty, a little just kind of out of sync. I wanted to get out and practice a little bit, just kind of get back in house shot mode before league, and didn't have the chance to. So that was that. I threw about 6 atrocious shots game one, and none of them struck, and all of them deserved to not strike. So it was probably the least upset I've ever been about a 191st game, honestly. So it was like, I know, like, I'm doing everything wrong and I just need to fix it. And I just couldn't fix it. And then come back, go 240, 230. I think I was throwing the Widow 3.0 most of the time. I may have thrown the Theorem game 3. Just kind of plunking away, making my spares and getting strikes where I can. So as tough of a start as it was physically, 670, I don't think was a bad outcome whatsoever. And to be able to kind of have that as a floor most weeks, I think is helpful, I guess, for lack of a better term. So so that was that. And then obviously week 29 was when you and I were out of town for Cam Ditzler's wedding up in Pennsylvania. So you and I both took absence against Ken and Jay. And then Jaden, as I mentioned, was also absent for NAIA Nationals. So we got James Burton, who I believe is one of Rusty's kids, I think.
Yeah.
He subbed in for Jaden because we would have had her at a 198 absent. And then Noah was there as well to kind of complete our legal lineup for that. So I don't know if I've ever actually seen James bowl as I think about it, but as a solid showing, I think it was his first or second set of the season for the Scratch League this year. So definitely appreciate him filling in. He normally works in the back on Thursday nights, I think. So if I see him, I'll have to say thanks for subbing in. So got James in leadoff, and then Noah. I mean, considering it was 17 and 18, granted, there's not a ton of traffic, but 640 on 17, like over average on 17 and 18 is pretty much always a good result at this point, I feel like.
Yeah.
That pair's been really tough the last couple of months or so. There have been some very disastrous team sets coming off of that pair.
Yeah, so I mean, Jay shooting 760 and Smallwood shooting 690.
Yeah, Jay might as well have shot 830.
And that's probably better than what we were going to shoot, or close to it anyway. I really don't think on 17 and 18 that 750 would have been there for you, or 720 would have been there for me.
It hasn't been this year. Yeah, no.
So
I've got like a 720 from when we bowled Trevor's team and they pre-bowled. And the only other time we were on that pair, I shot that was when we bowled Keeler's team and I shot 640.
Yeah,
the highest pair was just disgusting.
Yeah, the highest score on the pair was 650.
Yeah. And it was the guy with like 3 revs who just plunks it up 15.
Yeah, the week after they set the then scoring record for the season.
That lasted for 2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it was, I mean, bowling against Trent's team, I feel like walking away with a chop, because I do think our team, Trent's team, and Trevor's team, in my mind, are going to be the 3 consistently strongest rosters in the league. And so if we can walk away from a match with one of those teams with like a chop or close to it, that's a win,
Yeah,
It's
they're.
not really going to be a whole lot different than that unless one team just shits the bed.
Mm-hmm.
So sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, I was just going to say that they're a tough out. I mean,
Yeah.
just like we are, you don't go into that matchup expecting to. It's more of a accident if
Yeah.
they happen to have a coincidence more than anything. You catch them on a bad week, or you happen to catch a heater. Most of the time, it's going to go like that.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, that was a very fun match. I think I mentioned this in the preview show. It was like, they're the happiest team in the league this year.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of fun bowling against them. So, and then bowling against Jay's team. Obviously, 11 and a half isn't the greatest, but we were both absent and we had a sub, and we still had a decent haul of points. And
Yeah.
20, low 26 as a team with 2 absents. That's still pretty dang good, I feel like. And so,
Yeah.
tough to be too upset with that, especially 26-17 has probably been a winning score most of the time on 17 and 18.
Mm-hmm.
So tough break, but it is what it is. Moving on, bowling against Team Smith this week, which means we get to bowl against Angel,
Mm-hmm.
which will be a lot of fun. So a couple notes here. Number one, Jaden is back in the lineup this week, which means he'll be back in the leadoff spot. They're just a little out of order from the recap sheet. So it'll be Jaden, Noah, you, me, most likely for the lineup. And I'm assuming Yuri's team is going to run what they have on the sheet here. When we bowled them in the first half and up until 3 or 4 weeks ago, I think, Wes Altman was on the roster.
Yeah.
And then he took a job, working for him as a groundskeeper for a minor league baseball team down in Florida, I want to say.
Yeah,
Right?
I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. But Wes is no longer on the roster. And so they actually got Russ Wilson's wife, Crystal, who is number one, an awesome person, number two, a phenomenal bowler, to take his spot on the team, which I'm not very happy about because that makes that team better.
Yeah.
But what's up, John? I think this will be a pretty fun match. But I was actually practicing with Tyler on a pattern yesterday at Royal Crest, so that was a lot of fun. But I think this does. I was thinking about this as I was putting this doc together earlier today. This is one of those teams in my mind that just feels like a very different team now than when we bowled them the first half.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, I mean, Yuri is who he is. Tyler sort of is, sort of isn't. I don't know. I think this is going to be a fun and pretty tough match tonight. So I'm kind of looking forward to it, honestly.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes. But
it'll be a lot of track play on the right side. Noah and Jaden, obviously pretty straight. Crystal plunks it right up the side. Angel plays the track area. Yuri plunks it right up the side. You're alone. Tyler and I are going to be hooking it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't think, and we're on, what pair are we on? We're on 7 and 8 this week. So
okay,
it's been a decent pair for us. We actually had a chop against Bo McVeigh's team back in week 10 on this pair, and a couple other really close matches as well. So it's actually really hilarious. This 19-24 tie. So it's been 3 very close matches on our side on that pair, and then obviously a little tougher of a road for Yuri's team on that pair. But like I said, I don't think this is a match we can sleep on whatsoever.
No, I was kind of thinking it'd be nice to get to it. Just looking at the standings, if we can somehow get 110, if we can get up to 300 points by the end of the half, we got 5 weeks left. Very doable. I mean, 20. I mean, it's going to take some doing, but
yeah, if we can get solid wins the last 5 weeks, I think that'll put us in a pretty good spot. But I mean, ultimately, we're basically at a 50% win rate for the half, and it's just kind of it's been tough to get a whole lot of momentum. I feel like for us this half.
And I mean, we still got bold Trevor and Russ, and it just on paper it's not realistic, but
it's possible.
Because
we've got what's our record? Let's see, bowl Yuri, then Crouch, then Rhodes, then Trevor, then Russ.
Yeah.
It's like what's our schedule? 15, 8, 10, 5, 6 is our strength of schedule for the rest of the year. So that'll be a tough out, but it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
So just gotta, with how the payout works, I think a lot of the payout is actually for like on like as a dollar value per 0.1 essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's kind of the big thing that I'm kind of trying to keep in mind is like, yes, it'd be awesome to finish top 5 in the half, but at the same time, it's just kind of if we can keep collecting points and finish with the year-to-date points win, I think that'll actually be a little more significant from an overall perspective. So, yeah, I think it will be. Oh, we got a buck.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, buck.
I know. Your frustration, buddy?
You're not paying enough attention to him, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it should be a fun time tonight, and we're bowling against some fun teams and some a lot of talent the last 5 weeks. So it'll be a tough road, but hey, if it's not easy, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
So, Storm's doing a lot better, I think, right, Luke?
Yeah, he's fine.
In the chat.
Yeah, he got the cone off a week and a half ago. Sweet. Before we left for Pennsylvania, and we doing Bucko. You can see he still hasn't grown the hair back on that side of the face, but
it's getting there.
Cut looks. Yeah. He doesn't really have the cut anymore. That's healed up pretty nice. What are you thinking, Buck? You doing better? Okay, good.
So, as far as in the bag, this is going to be a week of absolutely no changes whatsoever for me. I threw my Hustle Camo Game 3 last week. I forgot about that. Or 2 weeks ago against Trent's team. That's what I did different. For me, it's really just going to be the same bag as last time. Widow 3.0, shined up NV Tour, not a ton of surface on it. My Theorem, and then my Hustle Camo with a bit of chalk.
Mm-hmm.
Really, like, not trying to overthink it. It just does give me some kind of tweaks on the same general shape idea that I can manipulate and use in different ways. So keep it simple, hit the pocket, and hope something cool happens. That's my plan for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
So on your side, I think you and I were talking, you might make a couple tweaks, but kind of just trying to dial in on something consistent and just kind of figure out how to make it work, I think is your plan.
Yeah, it's just, and that's really the trick, is just getting the ball through the pins the right way. So whatever has to work for that. The Summit's going because that's been kind of a mainstay. The Covert Revolt looked good last week until game 3.
Yeah.
And then Theorem and the new Conspiracy.
Okay, the radical conspiracy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That Theorem's actually looked really good for you once you kind of cracked the shine off of it.
Yeah, once I got that surface thing worked out, it just calmed the friction response down, made it a little bit more throwable, and the Conspiracy is kind of like an earlier, smoother version of it, and so I just needed to get that calmed down from box surface into a throwable range. But yeah, both of those react really well, and then so.
Yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, nothing too crazy. My mics are dead, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get them charged in time. So probably not going to record tonight. I think actually recording. We bowled Trevor the second to last week. I think that would be a fun one to do another league night video on my channel. So
yeah,
probably have that in the works for that week. Otherwise, it's a points collecting contest. Like you said, if we can get to like 300-ish, I think that'll be a really good finishing spot on the year. Obviously, I think winning this half is completely out of the question. When we don't bowl a team higher than 5th in the standings right now, and there's another half a week from them to 1st.
That's
with
really
5 weeks. With 5 weeks left, that's basically impossible.
Yeah,
but we're what 25 away from 5th, and we bowled 4 of those teams the last 5 weeks. So it's
really
that
just
becomes a lot more
top 5.
Yeah, exactly. So if we can get there again, then awesome. But yeah, otherwise, I think I got to get back to work. So
yeah,
gotta earn the paychecks.
Yep.
My coffee's dead.
Yeah, I got a few things to do and need to go get a snack and.
Fair enough. But no, should be fun. And I guess we'll be back next week and back with one of these for every week for the rest of the year, and then obviously probably have a kind of season-ending recap show. I think probably after week 34, just kind of.
Yeah,
I think it'll be fun to kind of look back and just think about like lessons learned and kind of talk a little initial draft strategy for next year, kind of depending on what happens.
Yeah. Where am I at currently in the? Sure, I'm.
So with Trevor, if Trevor is in fact
Trevor's
not returning,
definitely not coming back.
okay, so that gives you a little bit of a cushion because out of people who are captain eligible, you are in 17th.
Okay.
At 222.20. With that said, the captain cutoff is with Trevor not returning is now Johnny at 220.79. You got about a pin and a half ahead of that. First out is actually Alex Hardman at 220.45.
Okay. I feel pretty good about being able to at least maintain, if not gain a couple pins back the rest of the season. So
yeah,
I should be fine.
You're probably going to have one of those really early picks because there's a, even if you get to like 224, that's still going to give you the 4th or 5th pick of the first round.
Yeah.
So you're basically going to have your pick of almost everybody. And my lead is still 5.5 over second for average, I think, give or take. So I'm pretty much locked into the last pick at this point. So I'm just kind of personal goal of finishing at 240 for the year, which I'll need to gain back a few sticks. I'm at 239 in a bit right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got some work to do there, but it's kind of a personal goal to get to 240. And then I'll kind of be in a similar position to what Zach was when he drafted last year, just kind of like letting the draft fall to him and whatever happens.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of what it feels like I'm going to have to be doing for my approach next year.
Yep.
And then hopefully we get to snipe the crap out of each other third round, which will be hilarious. But anywho, has been fun. It's good to be back. And I guess we'll be back around the same time next week.
Yeah. Yep. So,
adios, y'all.
Yep. We'll see you next week.